The federal government has approved Medicaid expansion and strict work requirements in the state of Utah. You might remember back in November that the people of Utah voted for Medicaid expansion on their ballot. It was a very popular ballot initiative to make sure that more people, up to 150,000 people, could be covered by Medicaid in the state of Utah. But that came after a state law was passed with partial Medicaid expansion, going only up to 100% of the federal poverty level, not taking federal Medicaid expansion money, and mandating strict work requirements for their Medicaid program. That had to go to the feds for approval. So we had two conflicting Medicaid expansion scenarios playing out in Utah. The state law saying partial expansion and the ballot initiative saying full expansion. Well, the ballot initiative passed. That was a voting issue in November, and that was what the people spoke for in Utah. But the feds this week have announced they are going to approve that waiver seeking the partial expansion. So that ballot initiative is now undermined and is now dead in the water. March 29th, CMS approved Utah's Medicaid expansion plan. It overrules the ballot measure. It covers fewer people, but at a higher cost than what the ballot measure would have done. Coverage is expected to be for an additional 70 to 90,000 people instead of that 150,000 projected from full expansion. And because it is a partial expansion and there is not enhanced federal match for it, it will cost the state of Utah about $50 million more to make it happen. Now, Utah is going to go ahead and expand Medicaid on April 1st, 2019. It will be implemented just a few days after the CMS approval. It will not, in its first iteration, include those very strict work requirements. That is something that they will figure out the logistics of and implement, as they suggest, by January 1st, 2020. We did say that these are strict work requirements. From what we can see, these are the strictest work requirements that any state has proposed to date, and the feds did indeed approve those. Now, there is also one other provision in this partial Medicaid expansion in Utah, and that is that Utah can cap enrollment of its Medicaid program if the state can't come up with their amount of money to make this feasible. So there is a possibility that Medicaid as an entitlement program will no longer be an entitlement program if the state doesn't have enough of the money they need to make this work. You can read the approval letter from CMS. We link to it in the description below. We will keep you posted as we learn more about their work requirements, what that looks like as they get close to that January 1st, 2020 implementation. If you have questions on work requirements in your state or in Wisconsin or Utah, you can send us an email, and you can find us at healthwatchwisconsin.org.